Somebody rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope you guys are all enjoying your Monday. Hopefully it's a marvelous Monday for all y'all beautiful people, for all y'all beautiful selves. Make it a beautiful one. Make it positive today. What a weekend, y'all. Holy God, what a weekend. Okay, we got a lot to talk about, a lot to cover, and a lot of things to discuss today. And we kind of have to do a little bit of a recap, just a tiny recap, because like I said, there's a lot that has happened over the past 24 hours. And there's more and more information coming out as we speak. And it all goes around the Waukesha tragedy that just recently went down. A SUV, a red SUV, plowed through a parade, y'all. A parade. And has injured several people and has taken some fatalities. It has taken some people's lives. We got to talk about it. And of course, we do have something that we may have a possible identification, the possible identification of the person of interest, allegedly. Let me repeat that, allegedly. We don't know everything as of yet, but this is the information that we have so far. So we're going to be talking about that as well. Then I do have a very exclusive interview, excuse me, with Daniel Robinson's father, David Robinson. And if you don't know about Daniel Robinson, Daniel is a 24-year-old black man that was missing or has been missing in Arizona for almost 4 months now. And his father has dedicated his time to move to Arizona just so that he can find his son. And I think a lot of us are wondering, where is Daniel Robinson? So we got to get into that conversation. And of course, we got a bunch of other pieces of news that we're going to be talking about today as well. The Ahmaud Arbery closing statements have happened or are happening right now as we speak. So yes, it's another crazy week. It's also a holiday week. So it's going to be very, very nutty for a lot of us. But before we go into all of that before we jump into the conversations, do me this small favor and hit that like button down below. Dag nabbit. Help this show. Help the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? So hit that like button down below. I see you guys starting to file in. I'm sure you guys are going to continue to file in. But hit that like button as you walk in. You know, as you get all cozy and you have your cup of coffee or your tea or whatever you drink in the morning or wherever you're watching the show. Some people are drinking mimosas or drinking liquor because it's nighttime in other places of the world. Whatever you're doing, hit that like button down below. And also, don't forget to crush that subscribe button, guys. I mean, is it that hard? We're this close to 50,000 subscribers. Like I said, 50,000 subscribers. Okay, so please crush it, man. Do me that favor, crush that subscribe button, nuke it, crack your screen. That's what I said. I said it. Just don't send me the bill, okay? Because I'm still, you know, it's hard out here in these streets, okay? I got other bills to pay, man. All right, hit that subscribe button. Anyway, we got to get into some news, but my brother David's in the house. What's good, man? How you doing, my brother? Good morning.
Morning. Doing pretty good here. Hi to everyone in chat. Just been mostly watching the Arbery case. There's obviously it just started about 8 minutes ago. The testimony or closing statements did. Prosecution's coming out on fire, but you know, we'll try to cover it later once we have time to go back and watch through the prosecution and the defense, because it's probably going to take a couple hours. But we got a bunch of good stories here today. I am putting an article in chat real quick about this missing girl. So if you live in that area of Peachtree, Georgia, they're still looking for her. She's just lost, allegedly. So I'll put it in chat. If you happen to live in that area, keep an eye out for her. She's an 8-year-old black girl with glasses that was wearing a Tweety Bird shirt. So if you live in the area and you see that, please call the police.
Yeah, so you know, I mean, since you're already jumping the damn gun, I mean, we could talk about that really, really quick. So Gwinnett, right? Gwinnett,
Yes.
Gwinnett, police search for a missing 8-year-old. Mother is very concerned. Let me get this. So they said that an 8-year-old girl went missing shortly after midnight in Peachtree Corners. The police department said Nicole Hall was last seen with her mother between midnight and 1 a.m. on Sunday. Hall went missing from the hometown studios at 7049 Jimmy Carter Boulevard. Let's see here. Police said Hall is diagnosed with autism and is new to the Peachtree Corners area. Hall was last seen wearing a blue jacket with the cartoon character Tweety on it and a blue and white pajama set. Police said she's possibly wearing her glasses and her rainbow light up shoes. She's 4'10", weighs about 80 pounds. She has brown eyes and black shoulder length hair. She is black. I want to repeat that. She is black. Police said Hall's mother is extremely concerned for her daughter's safety. Anyone who may come in contact with her or learn of her whereabouts to call the GCPD detectives at 770-513-5300 or leave an anonymous tip with the Crime Stoppers at 404-577-TIPS or 8477. Or you can go on to stopcrimeatl.com and put out your information over there, or any information that you may know about any information about the whereabouts of this young 18-year-old girl. She has autism. She, like David said, and I'll say it for the third time, she was wearing a Tweety, the cartoon character Tweety t-shirt. She's wearing pajamas and also rainbow light up sneakers. She has autism, so she may be lost. We all don't know where she is right now, but of course, hopefully we'll find out more information here very, very shortly. But she's been gone for how long now?
Since 1 a.m. yesterday, so over 24 hours now.
Over 24 hours. So hopefully we can be swift. So for anybody who's out there that may know anything, please contact your local authorities and let them know if you know anything about Nicole Hall's whereabouts. Hopefully we can find her with the quickness. Hopefully she's just lost. Maybe she just walked down the wrong road or street or something like that. So fingers crossed that she's going to be okay.
Yeah, I hope she's well, because as you mentioned, she has autism. They are also new to the area, so that is partially why they think she was lost. She just doesn't know the location whatsoever, unfortunately. So keep an eye out for her, because obviously the first day or two are the most important in finding these children.
Yes, absolutely, man. So hopefully things, fingers crossed for sure. Hopefully we'll get down to the bare bones, and we'll find her, and she'll be in one piece. She'll be unharmed, and she'll be home back in her mother's arms safely. So fingers crossed to that. But we got to get into the other stories. We got to get into the news. And there's a lot that's going on right now, revolving around the Waukesha tragedy. And this is just insane. As we already know, which of course I'm going to be doing a little bit of a recap, because I know that for some of y'all that are filing in didn't watch the show yesterday, because it was very much a pop-up live, impromptu. It was a big crushing story that was happening yesterday as we speak, and it's still developing as we know right now. They don't have everything as of yet. They don't know. They haven't given out as much information, but they've given us some information, right? And as I woke up this morning, there was more information that came out, which will be surprising to you guys, because it's more than you think. It's more victims than you think, more than what they gave off in the press briefing. Now, I understand that they don't know everything, and they're trying to give the general public as much information as they can fathom, right? So they only get as much as they know, and then they throw it out, right? So, yeah, we need to talk about this, and we need to go into this conversation. So here it is. Man, here it is. There was a man Now we're hearing that it was a man that was in a red SUV that plowed through a parade, a holiday parade, a time for people to get together, have fun, have smiles, be bundled up, drink some hot cocoa, and be around their friends and family and just celebrate being with family, celebrating life, celebrating the holidays. It's the most wonderful time of the year, right? And get ready for an amazing Thanksgiving, right? Well, obviously, a man got into a red SUV and decided to drive down several people in this parade. Innocent lives were taken, and we have some more information about that. But first, before we go into that, we need to look at a few things real quick. Get this article. Well, actually, let me see. I'm like, I want to pull up these things, and there's just so much going on. Okay, so let me pull this video up, news clip, so that you guys can see for yourselves. And like I said, there's more information out here now, which we will be reading from an article here very, very shortly. But let's take a look at this news article. Like I said, we're going to do a little bit of a recap so that you guys know a tiny bit more. This news clip could say a little bit more in here right quick.
Eyes are on Waukesha from all around the world. Our Casey Cronus has been in touch with multiple news outlets from outside of the U.S. trying to make sense of exactly what happened in our corner of the world.
Hey, good evening. That's right. There is interest in this situation, as you mentioned, from around the globe. We spoke with a news anchor in Australia. We've spoken to teams in Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and Minneapolis tonight. Their condolences pouring in as this community tries to make sense of the tragedy that unfolded here today. Now, I do want to bring your attention down the street. We are about a half a mile from the downtown area where this incident unfolded earlier today. This is near Maple and Arlington, where the SUV was found parked in a driveway. Bill Miston showed video of this earlier tonight in our newscast, but we wanted to give you a live look here of this residential area. We spoke with a neighbor who tells us he's completely shaken up at what occurred tonight, as is this entire community. We also spoke with a father earlier who brought his.
Real quick, I'm sorry, I'm going to roll that back a little bit, but so that we hear that full statement. But look at that car, y'all. I mean, it's not the best angle in the world, but look at what that car looks like. Look at what that car looks like, y'all. Now, there's a lot of stories and speculation revolving around this suspect, this person of interest, right? And what's crazy is that we're going to look into it, but there's speculation that this guy was trying to flee from another scene. He was trying to flee from a crime that he committed. If he had any regard for any person's life, that car would not look like that. The several people that were injured and hurt or killed from this incident would still be here. They would have had a successful parade. Does this look like a guy who was just trying to flee from a crime scene? Real talk. If that's true, we'll talk about it in a second. I don't want to jump the gun too much, right? But this is insane, y'all. Look at that car. I'm going to roll back just a little bit so we can get the rest of that.
Entire community. We also spoke with a father earlier who brought his 6-year-old son to that parade and said his first priority when he realized what was unfolding was to help those around him and to get his child and his cousin's children who were also with him to safety. I believe we have a soundbite we want you to hear from him.
I was in shock. I was like, what is happening? I mean, you've heard of stories, unfortunately, of this happening in other places, and you're just, my immediate instinct was just keeping the kids that were with us, trying to keep them safe, and see what we could do to render aid and help the people around us. Please pray for our community. Please pray for the families and people of the victims. And especially please pray for the children that witnessed everything tonight.
And he also says he and his wife are both educators, and that when kids witness tragic incidents like this, it really can stay with them. So we do want to encourage folks to take advantage of the counseling services that are available. We'll have more on our website, fox6now.com. But as you can imagine, the fear in that moment when you see that car plowing through the crowd, and, in the moment, you don't know what is going on, but he kind of described it for us that when he did realize it, just pure chaos as everyone was trying to escape.
And then seeing so many people there on the ground in the middle of the street wounded, absolutely horrific, traumatic event. Casey, we're going to check back with you a little.
Yeah, I don't even know how to fully fathom this. I mean, it's funny, as much as you do this as a job, right? As much as you cover these kinds of stories and you talk about the craziness that goes on, the more desensitized, I guess, the less you react, right? The less, but still never, it's like it never gets old, but it does at the same time. I don't know how to explain it, because you could still sit here and go, oh my God, how could somebody, like, this is one person that did this, right? This is one individual that was behind that wheel that decided to do this unthinkable thing, right? Taking all these people's lives and putting several young children, several young children, traumatizing so many, not even physically, but emotionally and mentally, that these kids that are watching this thing, right? Watching this, that were there with their own two eyes. I mean, it's like I said, it's frustrating that this is the world that we live in now, that this is normal. David.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to follow this as closely as I want. I mean, it did just happen. But normally I like to go through the news and verify all the information myself. Unfortunately, I haven't had time to do that because I've been focusing on the Ahmaud Arbery case since last night.
Right.
But from what I can tell, we do know that this guy was probably involved in a knife fight of some sort right before he left. And that seems to be the reason that he was fleeing. He also, people were in chat were suggesting that he may not have known the parade was there, which is possible. However, he did intend to harm people because he was going out of his way to hit them, and he was also firing on the crowd.
Wait, hold on. Before we start throwing out that kind of information, we did a live yesterday. The police said that he was not shooting anything out of his car. So if there's any, and that's what they said in the last press briefing. So before we say anything else, let's just make sure that, because I don't want to put out any information that's not true. So the police chief did come out and say that the only gun that was fired was from a police officer, because the police officer was trying to stop the car from moving. He was trying to stop the car, but the car just kept going,
Okay, so that's then. As far as the officer shooting, the report that I got on that one is that basically he did, like Pascal said exactly. However, it's believed that there was no one injured by the bullets of the officer, other than possibly the driver. They haven't confirmed that. So from what we can tell, there were no accidental shootings from the police, I guess, then, since they were the only one that fired. Because I was going to say he didn't hit anyone, so I guess it was the police. Either way, I've already been seeing this one get highly politicized, but I do not think there's a reason for this. Before we even knew who the victim was, of course, people on the far left, far right were already saying it was the other side causing political violence. But this does not seem to be a political story. This seems to be related to a other crime. There does not seem to be a political motivation. I mean, we're still waiting for more information, but from what the police have said, and like I said, I haven't been able to verify all this information, but from what the police have said, it seems to just be related to criminal activity. It does not seem to have anything to do with any politics or race-based social issues. It just seems to be a crime. So that information's out there, that it is political. That does not seem to be true. That's just fear-mongering for the most part, from what I can tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, this is exactly what happened with the show yesterday. As soon as we were doing this live, all of a sudden it became highly political, highly polarizing. Suddenly it was, oh, it's because of this, this, and this. And obviously, because understandably, people would automatically think, oh, maybe this is a reaction towards the verdict that happened on Friday. Right now, they have not confirmed nor deny any of those things. They have not said that there's any connection to this. Allegedly, this man could have been this particular man, which I will be showing him very shortly. But allegedly, this particular man was fleeing from another crime scene. But it just, for me, it still does not compute in my head why he went down that particular road, continue to go and not decide to just bang a Yui. You know what I'm saying? Just bang, just flip it 180 real quick and go the other way, right? That's the part that I'm still trying to have compute in my mind. It's still not working for me, period. Tyler Hackner, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. This shouldn't be the way. It's too much out here. I feel you on that. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I agree 110%. We're living in some weird ass times. There's some weird ass times, y'all. But I do feel like this is the time now more than ever that we try to stay safe. And of course, we try to keep ourselves around the people that we love. And I said this yesterday, you just never know. You just never know what's going to happen. I mean, you could go to an event nowadays. You can go to a concert and not come back alive. It's that crazy right now. But yes, people are quickly trying to turn this into a heavily political thing, saying that this is a politically motivated act. I think this guy was an ass. This guy is an ass, and he was behind the wheel. Allegedly, this guy was leaving from another crime, and instead of him going, oh dang, instead of him just trying to slam on the brakes and back up and turn around, he decides to just go right through people because of his own selfish ass reasons, right? The man did something that's unbelievable. Allegedly, this man, which I will show you guys here in a second, but I do have an article because we do have some more information revolving around how many people were injured, how many deaths we have. So we got to jump into this really, really quick. Let me show you guys this. Unbelievable. Like I said, they said yesterday that it was about 11 adults and 12 children. They said pediatric patients, which basically children. Okay. But now we have a new thing. A person plowed their SUV through the Waukesha Christmas parade, leaving 5 dead now and more than 50 injured, authorities say. 40 injured. I can't read today. 40 injured, authorities say. So, of course, they turned this particular holiday season has turned into a scene of bloody, deadly mayhem late Sunday afternoon as a vehicle plowed into Waukesha Christmas parade, killing 5 people and injuring more than 40 others, authorities said. Shortly after, before midnight, the city of Waukesha posted to its Twitter and Facebook accounts revised casualty totals. So, at this time, we can confirm that 5 people are deceased and over 40 are injured, the statement said. However, these numbers may change as we collect additional information. Earlier, authorities said that there was 11 adults and 12 children were ferried to local hospitals. Others were taken by friends and family. Children's Wisconsin hospital said it had 15 patients and no fatalities, thank God, right? The mayor of Waukesha called the incident a horrible and senseless act. The chief of police said that around 4:39 p.m., a red SUV broke through the parade barrier and headed west on Main Street. The vehicle struck more than 20 individuals. Some of the individuals were children, and there were some fatalities as a result of the incident. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there are photos and videos everywhere, right, where they're showing the carnage. I mean, it's jaw-dropping. What happened, and it happens so fast. Like, it's just a bang. Like they said, it's like a bomb went off. It just happens so quick. and to me, it's just I'm still wrapping my mind around this, right? So a suspect vehicle was recovered and a person of interest is in custody, the police chief said. People were transferred to hospitals via ambulance and police vehicles, he added. Now, we already know all this stuff. The main thing is, though, is that we have over 40 individuals that are injured, and now we have 5, count them, 5 fatalities due to this unbelievable act. Okay? Now, I do want to get into this next thing, but so hold 1 second, David, because I want to get into the suspect. We got to get into that really quick. All right? So now, of course, we do know that there was obviously that the law enforcement do have somebody in custody right now. And the thing is people are very quick to get the information out here. So I'm going to say this is alleged. Okay? I have to say that, right? Because this is not a confirmed thing from law enforcement or anything of that sort, but a lot of articles and a lot of people on Twitter are starting to blast this type of ish real fast, okay? Since last night, they were quick to have the ID. They were quick to put out the information. So I'm just going to say, allegedly, this is the person of interest, all right? And this man is right here, Darrell Brooks Jr. So Darrell Brooks Jr. is the man who's taken into custody in connection with the Waukesha Christmas parade tragedy on the 21st of November, according to police. Now, like I said, this is all alleged right now. No one, like I said, they, as far as we know, police have not come out and done a press briefing and said, "Hey, this is such and such." Okay, he is the guy. We don't know that yet, but this is what they're saying right now, according to Heavy.com. Okay, and they do have evidence here. They do have proof. So before we all sit here and go, "Oh man, this dude, he capping. This article capping." Hold up. Let's get into it. His social media accounts and online court records show that he is an aspiring rap singer. I love when they say rap singer. It's funny to me. With a length, it's just a rapper with a lengthy criminal. See what I'm saying? With a lengthy criminal history and 2 open felony cases for which he was released on a $500 and $1,000 bail. That the latter just days before the parade deaths. So he put out a bail for he posted bail for $1,000, right, on his $1,000 bail, and then days later he's racing down the road, running people over in a parade. Okay, so NBC News also confirmed with 3 law enforcement officials that Brooks is the individual in custody as a person of interest and is being questioned by law enforcement in connection with the vehicle incident in Waukesha. Police squads were there at the Milwaukee address used by Brooks after his name was mentioned on the scanner in connection with the Waukesha parade incident, in which at least 40 people, including many children, were injured when a red Ford Escape plowed through the crowd. He complained of shoulder pain when he was taken into custody. Now, they're saying that 2 police squads were outside the home listed to Brooks. Heavy also obtained audio from the scanner indicating Waukesha police obtained an ID in the name of Darrell Brooks Jr. inside the red Ford Escape they recovered in connection with the Waukesha parade investigation. He also goes by the name of Darrell E. Brooks Jr., Darrell Edward Brooks Jr. He is 39 years old, according to public records. He had prolific social media accounts, but some have already been deleted. According to an announcement by the city of Waukesha late on the 21st, yesterday, 5 people died. More than 40 are injured in the incident. However, these numbers may change as we collect additional information. Now, here's the thing. Here's 5 things. What do you want to say, David? Real
I was
quick.
just going to add one thing that wasn't mentioned in there is that some of the witnesses were part of a Grannies singing group, or Milwaukee Dancing Grannies group. They reported that some of the fatalities were from their members that were present at the party.
Yes, I mean,
So we have that as well.
and yes, and those grannies their age ranges goes from 50 to the late to late 70s. So like I said, this is the fatalities span a whole lifespan. Long story short, I mean, everything from young to the elderly, and like I said, it's heart-wrenching here. But number one, a red SUV is seen in a rap video recorded by Brooks, and he posted about the verdict, the Rittenhouse verdict, on Facebook. So here's the thing. Yeah, I'll say this real quick. I mean, and this is right now. This is right on here. It's the red SUV. It's the same red SUV that was out here in these streets running people down. Okay, so there's a red SUV that appears in this music video, but now that music video has been deleted, or apparently that YouTube channel has been deleted. So he must have been trying to cover his tracks, right? Tried to delete as much as he could to get out of the situation. All right.
It's still out there though.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's clips in here. There's clips all over Twitter and all that ish as well. Brooks raps under the name of Math Boy Fly. Does he do arithmetic? Does he rap about arithmetic? I don't know. Anyway, he had a YouTube channel with rap music videos, but it's been deleted. A red SUV could be seen behind him in one of the videos. Now the thing is like why of all things? Well, never mind. To me, it's like, okay, why a Ford SUV in a rap video? I think that's a new one for me. Unless he's trying to show that he's humble, right?
It's not even a nice SUV, is it?
Hell, no, I mean, no. I mean, it's a red SUV. You know what I'm saying? It's a regular ass SUV. It doesn't have like, Lambo, suicide doors, or like, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't have DeLorean doors or anything. You know what I mean? It's just a regular ass SUV. It's just very interesting. That's all I'm trying to say. Very interesting. But it has been deleted, but I'll show a little bit of the video right here. It's right there. Oh my God. It's right off the bat. I'm not going to play the music, obviously, but this is allegedly the man. There's the car again. This is allegedly the dude.
And part of what helped identify this guy, because this is a little bit of a weird part, but it is true. So it seems like, there's definitely a image of him driving by in the SUV. That's where they managed to pretty much get the idea that this was the same person. But it was actually an Italian national, but he or one of his family were present at the scene. So the original post is actually in Italian, but that it was then translated by social media. So social media was actually the one that identified this guy before the police, but the police are now working off of that identification, it seems.
Fabulous. Just fabulous. Great. So this is the guy, allegedly. Like I said, I have to say alleged because they have not come out to the public, at least, and said, this is the guy. Of course, this is the guy, right? But at the same time, I have to say that for legal reasons. You know what I'm saying? Another Math Boy Fly Facebook page belonging to Brooks, in the name J. Brooks, he wrote about the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. The trial occurred about an hour away from Milwaukee, and Waukesha police have not shared a motive for this recent tragedy. And this is what he posted. This is basically what he posted. Just hand in the face and just kind of like a, well, you know what I mean? Then when a friend wrote on the post, doesn't surprise me, what a joke, he responded, for real, but you're right. I wasn't surprised one bit. Throwing hands up. The page was filled with religious sayings. So Now they're saying that his alleged connection to the parade incident is not known. The police chief said that in a late night news conference that police have a person of interest. He did not name that person, but NBC News confirmed early on the 22nd today that the person of interest is Brooks, who is being questioned right now. Obviously, Brooks is not listed in the county jail, in the Waukesha County Jail database. The motive is not clear. I guess somebody just recently tweeted, according to law enforcement officials, the parade suspect was fleeing from another scene. So he was fleeing another scene, possibly a knife fight, like David just said earlier, before 40 people were injured and 5 dead now. Several law enforcement sources say that Wisconsin incident appears to be the vehicles fleeing a separate crime scene, a stabbing, when it plowed into the crowd. One person in custody. Investigation ongoing. So far, no initial link to terror or the recent Rittenhouse verdict. That's what they're saying. Now, like I said, everybody was very, very quick to sit there and go, oh, no, he done did it because of the Rittenhouse verdict, right? We don't know that. We don't know that. They're investigating that. But before we jump to conclusions, right? Before we jump to conclusions, let's find out what they say. We don't know that yet. Sounds like he was fleeing from another scene. He was fleeing from another crime scene, a stabbing. So it was like a knife fight. Then he got into the car, drove down, was fleeing the scene, went through a barrier, drove down the road, ran over and injured 40 individuals. Like I said, I'm going to ask this question here in a second. Something's just not working for me. Something's not working for me, though. Heavy discovered that the red vehicle, similar to the Ford Escape, actually shows up on Google Maps for the address listed at Brooks in Wisconsin online court records. The home along the 19th Street, where the squads were sitting on the 21st, in the hours after the parade tragedy. So you see right here the Google Maps, you see the car. It's right out in front of his own private domicile, right? Now, here's the thing though. A lot of people will sit there and go, wait a second. Okay, dude, somebody could have stolen that car. We got to play that as well. Somebody could have just taken that car and driven off. Right? True. If you we're talking about young Dolph a couple days ago, where he was killed. Apparently, they had a white Mercedes, 2-door Mercedes. Shooters did. They got in that car, they drove off, and then they got rid of it. They threw it off. They just drove it off the side, and they just abandoned the car. But it wasn't their car. See, criminals will sit there. They'll go find a car, obviously hotwire the ride, and then they'll do the crime because they don't want, who would want to go and cause a crime with their own car? Real talk. Who wants to do that kind of ish? Who wants to do that? So, of course, a lot of criminals will do that. Now, this guy is obviously a very interesting breed of criminal because this man was driving his own ride. So he decided not to do that. So, in addition, the red Ford Escape is registered to an older woman who lives at the home, a law enforcement source told Heavy. Brooks gave that address as his home address and was in a Wisconsin felony case filed only days before the parade carnage. Interesting. Now, we do have this. There's audio where they named the suspect who drove the vehicle into participants in the parade, and they are identifying him as Darrell Brooks. Here it is. Let's play it.
10-4. Well, it's a Darrell Brooks. That rings for anything.
Moving A-frame, I ran that subject My son's ID in the car. He is suspended. Looks like he's at least $199 on the system.
Copy. That's who he's identifying himself as. Lighter skin, black male, dreadlocks, red shirt, no shoes.
Confirm.
So here it is. This dude left his ID in the vehicle. Dude left his ID in the vehicle. So if I'm correct here, if I'm mathing this correctly, the car is registered to probably his grandma. Probably. Okay? Because it says it's registered to an older woman who lives at the home, the very home that I guess the car was left at. I'm assuming. Right? Did he take the car and drive it back to his home?
I don't have information on that.
See, that's the thing. I'm still trying to figure that out too. But he went and did a very, very, very heinous, bad thing. Drove through a whole bunch of people. After he did said crime, he drove the car back home. Now, here's the thing. He also gave that address as his home address when he was dealing with another case before he was bailed out, days before this parade. So he does a crime. And then on top of that, he leaves his ID in the vehicle. He has an extremely long criminal history, including open cases. He has open charges filed on November 5th in Milwaukee for resisting an officer misdemeanor. Another one, felony bail jumping. Now, this is the part that stopped me too. Hard. I was like, full stop. Hold up. So felony bail jumping. So he's taken off. How's he able to post bail if he's known for jumping bail? If he already has a history of doing that, shouldn't he already they denied bail? Personally. Second degree, hold on. Second degree, I'll ask you this real quick, David, but second degree, let me just get through this. Second degree, recklessly endangering safety. It's a felony with domestic assessments, disorderly conduct, and battery, both misdemeanors, also with DV assessments. So, and I'm sure it continues on and on. You know, he has a criminal history. So, David, you if he's known for jumping bail, how is he able to successfully post bail if he has a history of already doing it? Felony bail jumping.
Well, this is still a part of from what I can tell, this is still part of the efforts to mitigate the amount of people that are concentrated in prisons right now to avoid health issues, if you know what I mean. So that's a large part of trying to minimize people in prison or jail right now, but mostly prison. They're still giving out jail sentences fairly normally, which is a short-term kind of imprisonment. But for the longer ones, they are commuting or putting people on bail or house arrest and things like that a lot to try and keep the people from getting sick. So that's this is happening in the area still, so it's very likely to have had a part in it.
I like I said, I still don't. I still am having a hard time running this around, like wrapping this around my head, right? If this person already has a history of doing this, why are they still getting granted bail, right? If they already have committed this crime before, it should be like, no, you done messed up. We can't do that anymore. You gonna run. Like, I'm not sitting here saying that would have stopped this situation from happening, right? But at the same time, I just feel like this is, I don't know. It doesn't work for me. Basically, it's not working for me.
Yeah, I agree. It was a bad idea to let him go, obviously, but that is what they're doing right now. And it is, I mean, obviously they shouldn't have let this guy go. But in general, it is keeping people alive, especially those with fairly insignificant charges like smoking a joint or something. But obviously, there are also cases like this where people that should stay in there are being let go. So it's helping the overall health of the population, but obviously people are slipping through the cracks like this, which is a huge problem. I also just sent you an image. It's the one. Well, it's an article, but at the very top is the image of him in the SUV as it drives by. There was also a doctored one that was released late last night and early this morning, where it replaces him with a Photoshop of an SUV that's been recolorized. Basically, for some reason on Twitter, there is a fake photo of him replaced with a white guy going around. It's not even the same SUV. It's not the same location. People have already pointed it out and correlated it to a video. You can do a reverse image search to actually find it, which is what I did.
Right. No, it's the image I have right here on the online on the screen right now as we speak as well. And yeah, this is apparently a still from him driving through, him plowing through and hurting people. Real talk, right? This is a real thing, y'all. This really happened yesterday. Yes, and there was a video or a photo that was circulating around like crazy of just some random dude. Like I called him a young looking what did I say? Colonel Sanders, a young looking Colonel Sanders up in this piece. It looked weird. To me, it just didn't work. Right? This is not what's up. This is wrong. And somebody was real quick to put out this information and say, "Oh no, this is the guy," when it wasn't the guy. It shows right here, the photo. You see it right here with your own two eyes, guys. Real talk. But now you got 40 people injured, and count them, 5 people dead right now. 5 individuals dead right now, and they could be from young to old. We don't know the age range. But the stories that they're showing where people are recanting their experiences are, it is just, like I said, heart-wrenching. Absolutely heart-wrenching. I do have a video here. I'm going to show this because hopefully it's not too bad. It is some graphic content. I will give you guys that fair warning. But my heart and prayers go out to every single last person that was here at this place. And for any family members that have been impacted by this, because we are all going through it, right? The whole country is feeling this tragedy. And the funny thing is all I want to know is, what was the motive? Why was this person wanting to do this? Why did he do this? I'm going to show this video really, really few seconds because I don't know how bad and how graphic this gets. But I do have a question before we jump into our next segment. But for those of y'all who are watching, please hit that like button. Send those likes all the way up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, all right? It'd be really appreciated. But let's take a look at this video.
Mom! Come on, Grandpa. Come to the back. Grandpa, there are shots fired. We need to get in the back. Lay down. No. Lay down. Is this guy okay?
My husband said, I just remember him saying, is that guy trying to go around the parade? And I looked over, and as I looked over, I started to hear a lot of screaming and just saw a red SUV coming towards us. So all I could think of was to get my family back. And as we were getting back, I heard and saw the people being hit, but what you could do more than seeing is hearing, and just that sound was insane. So we got back towards the building we were standing in front of, and as he went by, it was like everybody keeps saying, it was just kind of slow motion.
Somebody literally drove by right in front of us, hit a whole crowd of kids. Yeah, there was kids involved though.
Okay.
My mom was trying to help one of them. One of the kids was turning purple and there's blood everywhere.
Don't be out.
No.
I'm a nurse, and my mother-in-law was saying, can you go and help people? Can you go and help people? So I went out there. The first gentleman we saw on the ground had people by him. He was alert and oriented, awake. So we moved on from him across the road, and that's when we came across the little boy that was in the road, turning purple. I didn't really have to do CPR on him, but I felt his neck for a pulse, and he had one, but his eyes were barely open, and his face, all I can remember is his sweet little innocent face was purple. He wasn't really with us.
He wasn't stopping. He went through all 6 blocks of the parade, and I think his motive was really pure evil. So,
and what blows my mind is that it's all kids in the parade. Like, it's kids.
Just a parade of kids.
It's a heart-wrenching, mind-blowing situation that happened. And the fact that people are now, of course, people are quick to come out and talk about the experience that they had. And you're seeing it all over social media. You're seeing it all over the place. People are starting to talk about this and give their firsthand experience, talk about what they experienced. And I'm telling you right now, I don't even know what I'd do if I was in this situation. This is just a mind-blowing situation, and I've been through some catastrophic events. But even so, this is just still one of the most, still a terrifying thought that you could just be there minding your own business, enjoying life, having a great time, celebrating family and whatever you want to celebrate during the holidays. And all of a sudden somebody just drives through a crowd of people and takes out so many people, several people. It's heart-wrenching. Now, the question I do have to ask here real quick, we have been talking about this nonstop, right? We know that there was a cop car, not a cop car, sorry. That's the question I was about to ask. That there was an SUV that drove through a barrier, right? Went into the parade, ran over a bunch of people, literally injured and killed over 40 plus people, all right? Where's the cop car? Here it is. They say that the alleged person of interest, Darrell Brooks Jr., was in that SUV driving away and trying to flee a crime scene. If he was trying to flee that scene, who was he running away from? Think about it. Who was he running away from? Because in the footage that we have so far, the footage that we've seen so far, no other car is following him. Was there a squad car following him? I didn't hear any sirens, or I didn't hear whoop, whoop. I didn't hear anything. All you hear is deafening screams and one single car driving down the road. So if he was fleeing a scene, why was he fleeing the scene with so hastily? Why? What was he running away from? Who was chasing him? If he was being chased, who was chasing him? That's what I'd like to know. If they say he was leaving a scene, fleeing a scene, what was he fleeing from, y'all? What was he fleeing from? Was there another car chasing after him with the, trying to pew, pew, pew behind him? Or was he just running away because he didn't want to get in trouble? Why would he drive so quickly like that? If there's no one chasing you, what you fleeing from? Here's the other thing. People sit there and say, oh, no, he's not trying to do, the people just happen to be in the way. So instead of him crushing, like just slamming on the brakes and banging a Yui and just veering off and breaking through another barrier and hitting a left or a right to go down another road, he decides to barrel through and kill a bunch of people and injure 40 people? The math ain't mathin', y'all. The math ain't mathin'. If he was really in like that desperate to try to get away from the situation, then where the other car at, though? Where is his threat that he's trying to run away from? That he's willing to say, it's me or these 40 plus people. And he decides to take 40 people down. Someone make that make sense for me, because that doesn't make sense to me at all. Real quick, David, because I got to jump into our next segment. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, and while there's no indication that he's part of BLM or any reason to think so, generally speaking, a lot of people on the right and in the middle do associate most Black people with BLM. There's still this idea of a monolith. So I do think that this could potentially lead to a bad thing, not because he has anything to do with BLM, but because people are going to assume he did. And so I do think there will be some problems arising from that specifically.
Yeah, like I said, of course there's going to be people speculating, because obviously if the person who is behind the wheel, the alleged person of interest, if Darrell Brooks Jr. is the one in the car, people are going to automatically connect him because he is Black, that this has to do with Rittenhouse. We don't know yet. We don't know. All we know is that allegedly he was fleeing another scene from a stabbing. He was driving down the road. He barreled through a police barricade or barriers and ran over 40 plus people, injuring and hurting 40 plus people, killing 5. What was he running away from? Who was chasing him? If it was cops, where was 5-0? Because I don't see him. That's what I want to know. Like I said, the math just ain't mathin' with this particular situation. David, I'll see you in a minute. I got to jump into this next segment. All right?
Man, see you soon.
See you in a minute, brother. Peace. Well, before we go into this next segment, I want to say to everybody, thank you so much for being in. I see about 800 souls watching the show right now. There's a lot to digest in that particular story. And when we find out more information, I guarantee you we will be talking about it. We will cover it right here on the Pascal Show. And I'm sure we're going to be talking about it more after my interview that I have right here. So please stick around. This is information that you need to know as well right here. So please do me a small favor. I see 800 souls watching the show. Please crush that like button. Send those likes all the way up. All right. That's the easiest thing that you can do to help this show grow. So hit that like button. Send those likes past 400 likes. That would really mean a lot. And of course, do not forget to crush that subscribe button. Okay. It'd be really great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. Anyway, we got to go into this next story. Now, I don't know if you guys know about 24-year-old geologist Daniel Robinson. This is a young aspiring Black man that went disappearing. He disappeared 4 months ago in Arizona. And one thing that's very touching is that we are all wanting to know where he is. But someone who really wants to know where he is more than anybody else is his father, David Robinson. He has dropped everything that his whole life and has moved to Phoenix just so he can dedicate his time to finding his son. Please welcome David Robinson to the show. How you doing, my brother?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for having me on.
Anytime. First off, I want to say, I'll say this too. Thank you so much for taking the time, because I know you're very, very busy. There's a lot going on around this particular, your son's case. And I just want to help spread the story, spread the news, and hear from you on this whole situation with your son. Before we get into everything, tell us a little bit about your son. What's your son into? What does your son like to do?
Well, Dave, he's just like any typical 24-year-old. However, he's a adventurous guy. So Dave seeks out things of interest, as in what he enjoy, like hiking, hanging out with friends. He loved the beach, hanging out at beaches and things like that. So he's more a person that like to travel and kind of get away from normal environments. Like some people like to stay home, sit on the couch. That wouldn't be Daniel. Daniel like to get out. I would say he's an outdoors person.
Right. Very active young man. Independent and strong young man. I can see where he gets his traits from. So tell me. So I understand from this whole situation. They found his car overturned, right? And but they did not find him in the car. They found his ID and his cell phone, but they didn't find him. Is there any more information revolving around that that you can share with us?
Yes. Well, his initial story is my son. He's a field geologist, but actually, by trade, he's a geologist. But he works for a company called Matrix as a field geologist. And what he does do is he get assignments. He go out to well sites, and he tests what's these rock settlements down in the well, and how much water, the levels, and things like that. So typically, he always meet with a representative of that well, whoever drilled that well, for instance. He'll meet with a representative who comes out there to meet him, and they do their work. This particular day, on the 23rd, that's exactly what he was doing. He talked to one of the other guys from a company called Weber, and when they were out there, according to his story, my son, after a brief time, kind of waved off and disappeared and drove off, where he never seen again, disappeared in the desert out there. Almost a month later, that's when the vehicle turned up, which you're saying. A rancher who owned the land out there, going after his cattle, ran into my son's vehicle that was overturning that ravine. His clothes was found out there on the ground in the pile, about 3 feet away. The safety vest that he was wearing that day was another foot away from that pile of clothing. Inside the vehicle was found, there was no blood found in the vehicle, but his keys, his cell phone, and a work laptop was in that car. Outside the car was his wallet and things like that in the pants pocket.
Can I ask you something? Was he working on anything that was possibly controversial within his company? Was he doing something that may have put him in danger?
Well, that area out there in the desert, all kind of things goes on out there. You can tell the fact, since I've been doing my searches, we found human remains out there a lot, and one time a skull. So things happen out there in that desert, but I can tell you that there are a lot of projects being done, like communities they want to build out there. That's the reason why my son had to check those wells to make sure that the rocks didn't have certain type of acidities where the water would be any good for a community. So it's a lot of projects going on, multi-million-dollar projects out there where they're trying to develop. So it's possible that people want to make sure that thing goes despite everything else that's going on with that land.
Interesting, because I could only imagine maybe he was uncovering something that maybe somebody had an issue with, or maybe he went on somebody's in a particular part of land that maybe he wasn't allowed to. But you say that he drove off, right? And then a month later, the car was found, right, with his clothes, his cell phone, and all that. And I'm assuming, he's a 24-year-old man. The phone is everything.
That's right.
That's a little strange, right? Were they able to maybe ping his cell phone to see where his last steps were, or before the cell phone was dropped off into that overturned car?
And that's the problem. From day one, once I made it here in Arizona, that's the first thing we asked as a family. Hey, we need cell phone pings. My son had this device in his vehicle called a Uconnect, almost like an OnStar. Need a geolocation for that. We want to see camera footage, him riding down the road from Phoenix to Buckeye, Arizona. Some kind of way, conveniently, the police of Buckeye tell us they couldn't get any of those things. They couldn't get the cell phone ping. They couldn't get the Uconnect data, which they say gave them all zeros. They couldn't even get photos of him riding down the road. They gave us one. They said, "Hey, we saw him on the interstate a month ago when he was headed up to California to see his sister," and that's all we have. So those are problematic from the beginning.
Very interesting. Okay, so I know that there's been rumors, right? And I'm sure you've debunked a lot of them. So I apologize if I'm repeating a rumor that you probably debunked a million times over. But I heard through the grapevine, of course, that maybe he was trying to, I guess he was like there was possibly a woman involved, like a woman of interest in a prospect, a future prospect that maybe he was trying to talk to this girl. Is it true? And have you gotten a chance to get a hold of this said girl that maybe he was talking to?
Well, the thing is, her name is Caitlin, by the way. My son spoke to me 2 days prior about this young lady. That's me and my son. We talked for 2 hours straight. We always talk that way.
That's
and,
beautiful.
He mentioned her. Me and him had a little disagreement about it because he spent the night over the girl's house. I was angry with him for spending the night with someone he don't really know. He explained the situation, how he met her through Instacart. He told me some little details about that night with another young lady was there also. He waited like 2 days later. We had to go to work. I'm assuming this must have happened on the weekend because he came back 2 days later asking for a canopy that he left in her backyard. And I was wondering in my mind at the time, son, what you doing? What a canopy doing in her backyard? He's wanting to go get it. So he called her, texted her, and she didn't answer. So he took it upon himself to go in her backyard to get it himself because he needed it for his job. She texted him later. I guess she must have had a ring or some type of camera thing and said, "Hey, don't come over my house uninvited." But he explained to her that he was coming for the canopy. But those are kind of things that you won't see in the police report. It's one-sided. I think the police department pick and chose what they want to put in their report. They had my son's phone for a week and a half, so they could have got those data and those things done. So as a family, we have the phone records, and a lot of stuff like that doesn't match. Saying the amount of texts and things like that. So it's easily to say, and I'm not accusing her for anything, but we feel like some of those text messages missing. So we don't know what they were discussing and things like that.
Okay, so because obviously, because I'm trying. So that rumor is true, or what has been said is true, but they did not leave on good terms. I'm assuming.
Well, I don't think that that part of him being in love with her and the thing like that, he never mentioned that to me. He just told me, hey, he met this girl, pretty much the storyline, and pretty much that was it. It wasn't, I'm thinking about her or anything like that. So, like I said, I don't know what the conversation really was because, like I said, a lot of that is one-sided and it's missing. But I can tell my son would have, if there was some interest, love interest, he would have spoke about it to me.
I see. And of course, this is just, it might have just been some dating type stuff. But then he just wanted to get his canopy back. But of course, maybe they just parted on not so great terms. Now, have they investigated into this woman at all? Or has it just been kind of a dead end?
Well, I think, of course, Buckeye had to talk to her. That's how they got her cell phone text messages that night. My investigator spoke with her. And I think that, to be honest with you, I feel that all of this is a distraction to my son being missing. I almost felt like, at my own personal feeling, that Buckeye put that out on purpose to distract from their failure of looking for my son. To make some type of story, just, hey, look at this, don't look at that type thing. So I don't really think anything significant out of that personally, but just to be a distraction.
Totally understand. Okay, so then let's talk about law enforcement real quick, shall we?
Yes.
How has the law enforcement been with you? Have they been cooperative, or have they just been slow on the up and up? Like, what's the story with law enforcement? Because I heard you say you have your own private investigator involved now. Right. And I've been seeing him in a lot of the videos you've been posting on your Twitter page. and I appreciate you posting and letting people know any new information revolving around your son's disappearance. But are they helping? Because you have your own private investigator. So have they just thrown up their hands and just walked away from the situation, or are they still cooperating with you?
Well, as a family member, when you first get a call that your child is missing, I was thousands of miles away in Columbia, South Carolina, when I got the news. Of course, when I first put in the missing person report, I didn't know anything about the terrain, the desert out here. I didn't know about the name of the road, but I learned that stuff through the officer that night once I was able to put that report in. I thought he was cooperative at the point, hey, look, I'm gonna ride down this road and receive your son's vehicle. I felt great about that. But at the same time, when I found out that night that my son was in the desert, I asked them, can they go out there and look for my son in the desert? They told me they couldn't. They had to wait till the next morning. It was nighttime. So, of course, I stayed up all night. The next morning, I checked with them again. And they told me they was going to do it, but they called me back an hour later saying, no, it's been scratched. It's been unauthorized by the higher ups because your son is a grown man. He can leave on his own accord. That was unacceptable to me. I just grabbed everything I could, spurred them on without thinking, and put it in my vehicle and started driving. Now, once I got here, of course, I'm dependent on the Buckeye Police Department. I didn't know anyone, couldn't lean on anyone. I just had to go by what they're giving me. So when I started hearing them say, hey, they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that, I started seeing that they're not really putting so much emphasis or interest into my son's case. They weren't even out there going out there to look for him. So that's why I had to start my own searches. I started my searches from that point. And then when the vehicles showed up, my searches expanded from that. So I had to do everything on my own. The Buckeye Police Department wasn't assisting me on any of those searches. I lost my confidence at the beginning.
Wow. And you lost your confidence in the beginning, and it's still lost to this day.
Right. That's right.
And I'm sorry that's happened, man. Because I'm assuming you're funding all this yourself,
Yes.
just doing everything yourself. Of course, I'll ask: is there a GoFundMe account to help you guys and help with your search? Okay, cool. I'll make sure that that's posted in the chat here very soon. So you brought in your own investigation, your own investigators, and all that. You brought in your own people, which obviously is a smart move.
Yes.
Now, I understand that you have some new information here that has to do with a possible member of the law enforcement in Phoenix. Could you tell us a little bit about this? Because I know this is kind of exclusive information right now. And I appreciate you dropping the information now right here on the show. But I know people need to know about this. Can you tell us about this particular officer and what connection he has with your son's disappearance? What possible connection he has with your son's disappearance?
Well, the thing is, there's also a narrative out there that my son was dealing with some mental health issues. That's been debunked also because I don't.
Can you say that one? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Internet just dropped like crazy. Can you repeat that again? Your son? You were saying?
Right. My son, there were some rumors out there that he was suffering some type of mental health issues, as in he may be depressed and things like that. That day that he went missing on the 23rd, he was said that by coworkers and things like that. However, it came to light just a few weeks ago. My investigator alerted Buckeye Police Department that this gentleman came forward that said he saw my son also that day. And of course, Buckeye didn't interview the guy. My investigator had to do it himself. Had to vet this individual to make sure that his story is corroborated, is true. They did so with his cell phone pings, his data from his phone, geolocations, Google, and things like that to verify that this guy was actually out there and his story is true. But what his story is that on that morning, he was out there, which a lot of people do out there in that desert, target practicing with his children. He saw my son's vehicle through his scopes, of his rifle. By the way, I want to say he's a federal agent. He's a federal law enforcement agent, by the way. And
Interesting.
so once he got there, he saw my son again, saw the vehicle again near this area, close to where the vehicles end up being found. This wash called Wagner Wash. He's hanging in that area. He saw me put my son to make sure that he wasn't in the area where he's shooting. But my son was in the car, appearing like he was cleaning it out or doing something to the car. He said the car appeared, it looked very good. It looked like it was brand new. When he spoke to my son was clear-minded, smiling, talking with his kids. And he had discussion about shooting out there. My son told him, "Hey, this is probably not the area that you need to be shooting. We're out here working." But he directed him to an area where a lot of people do target practice and things like that. So that helped us out in terms of the investigation to change the timeline. The whole story and the narrative was about that one gentleman, Ken, at the well site that said my son left around 9-ish that morning. So right now we're putting those timelines together because there's a conflict in that timeline with this gentleman's story, and based on his ping location and Google and things like that. So we're vetting those things and going through those right now, and we're gonna get some more information about that.
Interesting. Is there a name for this gentleman?
Yeah, his name is Billy. But we call it Bill, but they call him Billy. I didn't want to give his last name just yet, but that's his first name.
Understandable. But so he goes Billy. Okay,
so go by Bill.
He goes by
Bill. That's right.
Sure. So my question for you is this: why would Bill, right, tell you guys this information?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
It was a little bit of a breakup. Why would Bill go out of his way to give you guys this information?
I think from his story, he talked to me personally. He didn't really was aware that my son, this case was going to go on and things like that. Things happened that day. Of course, he's not even a citizen here in Arizona. So, when he saw the story on TV, he remembered he was out there that day, and he remembered my son's vehicle. And once he got the wind of the story was out there, that's when he decided to come forward. Like I said, it had been several weeks. We was going through the vetting process, trying to wait on Buckeye Police Department to interview him first, because they have the arresting power. They have the the legal. They happen on in their jurisdiction. So we try to give them the opportunity to do the interviews and things like that, but for some reason they haven't. So this gentleman kept coming forward to us, "Hey, look, I want to talk to the officer, let him know what I know," and they wouldn't call him. So we talked, we did some things ourselves.
Okay, so explain this to me real quick, David. Why haven't they interviewed Bill? If that's information and if that helps change the trajectory of the timeline and the possible and all of that, why would they not interview somebody who has some serious key information?
Well, there's a lot of people they didn't interview. Well, not a lot, but another person they didn't interview. The rancher, the guy that found my son's vehicle. You hear about him in the police report, but to date, his name is Brandon. He told me they have never came to him to interview him and hear his story. As a matter of fact, his timeline of his story when he found the vehicle, the fact that he was in that area with his, chasing his cattle 2 days prior, and the vehicle wasn't there, and that's that location where it was found, wasn't in the police report. And I think because that kills their narrative, their theory, the Buckeye Police Department's theory from the beginning. They want people to believe that my son wrecked that vehicle at that ravine. He climbed out through the windshield, unscathed, unhurt, but he had at the same time saying he had a brain injury. He shredded all his clothes off because brain injury make you think you're hot. And then he walked off and hid on a tree and disappeared from his family because he wanted to join a monastery and become a monk. That's the theory they want to stand on, and that's the theory they want to keep this thing at. But anything that comes out to contradict that and it's facts, they don't want that any parts of that.
What? Wait a second. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to. You just dropped something that I'm sorry. So they there's a theory out here that he wanted to go off and be a. How does that how's that working?
Well, as a father, it's several things that he found that vehicle on the well, he's been out there on the 17th or 18th, the rancher, and the vehicle wasn't there, right? He came on the 19th. That's when he found the vehicle out there. That kills the timeline to say, hey, my son must have had to be riding around the desert for 30 days, almost 30 days before he wrecked his vehicle. That's what Buckeye is saying. And then when the vehicle was found, the rancher told me he reported it. They came out there and they did little. They didn't do forensics work out there. They took some pictures though. They didn't have the helicopters. They had a drone. Some things like that. They didn't do much. They just scooped the vehicle pretty much up, his clothing, put in the bag, and it took off. I didn't know what was going on. I found out about the vehicle on the 20th, the next day. They called me that morning. Learning me they found my son's vehicle, but didn't find him. And I was angry about it. Hey, why y'all called me yesterday? Oh, we didn't want to disturb your sleep. To the Buckeye Police Department, where they showed me the pictures and things, and explained all those things I just told you from a picture that they had out for me. They had me to follow him to the police compound where they had my son's vehicle stored after they don't moved it from the scene. When I first was getting ready to see this vehicle for the first time, before I got there, he stopped. The detective Biffin stopped and said, hey, look, told me the story about some woman. He said, I've seen cases like this before. The family think their loved one is missing. It turned out some woman's story gave me wanted to be some kind of nun or something out of her. And she just going away from family. He said, I'm not really saying that about your child, but I believe that's what happened. Your son wanted to be away, and he went to join a monastery and become a monk. That's the thing he told me before he showed me my son's vehicle. So that's one of his working theories out there. What happened to my son?
So, but what thing? Okay, given the fact that you used to talk to your son all the time, hours even on the phone, why would he all of a sudden just up and leave and not even say, hey, Dad, I'm about to join this monastery, and I just feel like that's such a far-fetched idea, and the fact that they were just so quick to lean towards that and say, oh, well, job's done here seems so strange to me.
Yeah, a lot of that was strange. And go ahead, I apologize.
No, it's okay. You have a strong connection. It's the internet, I'm sorry. But you have a strong connection with your son. So it doesn't make any sense that he would not turn to you and let you know if he was making some huge life-altering decision like that.
And that's correct. Like I said, my family we're very close. Like I don't know how everybody else's family is, but the things I don't know, my son would definitely tell his siblings or his mom, and the things they don't know, he tells me. So we always have a way that we always know everything about each other because we share with each other. And my son, he knows he's a guy that like to get out and me and him talk about all the time. But I told him to leave South Carolina, expand the world. The world's bigger than South Carolina. He believed that since a child. He wanted to experience everything. And my son knows any other trips he always take. If he want to do something, he tell us what he's doing. We're not going to sit there and tell him no, unless it's something dangerous. But he's a grown man at this point. My son could say, hey, look, if I want to join the monastery, hey, family, but he would definitely tell us, hey, this is what we might try to talk him out of it, but he would share those kind of information with us. So that would definitely be something he would just do on his own.
Well, David, I want to say thank you so much for coming on and talking with me. My thoughts and prayers go to you and your family. And I have to give you mad props really quick, because it's not every day that you hear about anybody willing to drop their entire life on another side of a country, drive all the way over to another city just to solely find their loved one. And so I have to say, I give you mad props and love for doing what a father's supposed to do.
That's right. And that's exactly, I believe, any father would.
Absolutely. You know, so again, David, thank you so much for being on. I really do appreciate it. How can everybody find you, follow you, so that they can find out what's going on with your search for Daniel?
Yes, all the information you need is on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. That's pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. And also on my Twitter, please help find four. You can find all the information that you need. We have a petition out there that I would like everybody to sign also, because I'm trying to be an advocate for other families also, not just my family, because this thing is bigger, especially people of color tend to go unheard. So, try to get some changes in the laws and things like that. So please support us that way. Also, like I say, everything on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com.
Thank you so much, David. I really do appreciate it. And good luck with your search. I hope you do find your son soon. All right.
Thank you. God bless.
You too. Bye. Oh, man. So everybody, the mods and everything, thank you guys for putting out the information. It's pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. Please go and help find Daniel, because real talk, he's out here. He's all right. We definitely need to bring him home. We're going to be right back. Give me 2 seconds. I'll see you guys soon.
You're going to perform tonight. I can't make this interview boring, because this man is too exciting as a host. And I'm truly saying this, and if y'all can't do this, me and this man here is going to leave and go somewhere else where we can get some love. I want everyone in the building to say, I love Pascal on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow.
All right, we are back. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and being a part of the conversation today. Man, what a day. What a day. We got David back. What's up, my brother? Oh, you're muted.
All right, that should be better now.
Oh, you good, homie? You good. So here it is, y'all. It is very important that we keep our eye perked up, because we do have people out here that are going missing. We got so many people that we are losing, we are missing, we are not able to find, because either we're not putting in the time or the care to watch. It's so frustrating. David Robinson's story is so to think that you can go from talking to your son 2 hours a day, basically on the phone, having a strong bond with your son, to suddenly just out of nowhere being completely cut off from him and not knowing. It's terrifying to think that that's what has happened to this young man. And like I said, my heart and prayers go to the Robinson family, because this is not how it should be at all. And once again, it's a situation of 5-0. Will catch up with my voice, or not. But it's terrifying to think that even with 5-0, they're not really doing their due diligence, not really going in and doing what they need to do to make sure that people are safe. To find this young man, or any young man or woman that's out here that is lost, right? That's gone missing. You have to go and get your own private investigator. You have to go and do your own searches. This man, by the way, David Robinson, has been going on his own, literal, scouring the desert, trying to find his son with other people, conducting his own search parties and all that, just so he can find his son. That's crazy. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. So I live in a desert as well, and it's pretty similar to that location from what it sounds like. And excuse me. Um, so I was going to say that this does seem very suspicious to me. Like in the desert here, you're also allowed to pretty much go out and fire your weapon as long as you can find somewhere safe. So that part doesn't seem too strange, but the rest, like the story about the monastery, yet he's in the desert instead of an airport or a monastery, doesn't make sense. And one thing I've seen, because unfortunately, like I said, this does happen in deserts a lot. Car wrecks. Usually, if somebody dies in a car wreck, their body is in the car or within a few feet. I've never seen an incident like that where somebody died in the desert because they say had a car accident and you don't find them within the immediate area. So that's very suspicious because even if they are injured, they're still going to stay near the vehicle because that's their best way to be found. And it doesn't make sense. That's what always seems to happen in these incidences in my location in the desert when they unfortunately happen. You don't see car wrecks without a body there unless they left the car. I mean, okay, so you can find car wrecks in the desert without anyone in them, but usually that's because they were saved or rescued or something. I've never seen a case like this in the area though, where you find the car but you don't find the person in the desert. I've not really heard of a situation like that, and it makes it very suspicious to me. Especially if this guy, I don't know, if he was shooting somewhere that he wasn't supposed to or shooting too close to a work group, you don't know what could have happened there. But if there was some sort of accident, it does not sound like a vehicular accident to me because that just doesn't lead up to that sort of evidence. So I do think, I mean, obviously the father thinks this, but I do think there's likely as well some sort of foul play here. It just doesn't add up. And it's not typical of these incidences you see of people unfortunately dying in the desert because, like I said, it's common and it follows a theme. And this doesn't really fit with those unfortunate incidences because the desert's dangerous, but it tends to kill people in the same way, I guess you could say. And this is odd when you consider how accidents in the desert actually happen.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this whole story is definitely foul play is afoot. I think it's very frustrating that, and I mean, I've said it a million times before, but I find it very frustrating when people of color are kind of thrown to the side, especially when they've gone missing. That there's this especially certain law enforcement, they just don't seem to care. They just, there it is. That's the truth. We're done. Wrap it up. We're done, guys. That's the story. We don't need to do anything else. He just ran off. That's it. He just ran off. He wants to join the monastery. That's probably what it is. Case closed, everybody. Where's the donuts and coffee? And instead of them going and doing their due diligence and actually going and doing the research and finding out if this kid is really okay, where this kid is. A car was turned over. His cell phone, his clothing, his personal belongings were inside the car. Car was turned over. And the other thing that's so frustrating is that they're so quick to say, oh, it was a mental health issue. That's what it is. He crawled out the front of the outside, out of the windshield of the car, and walked off and found his purpose. His purpose in life is to become a monk. What? So you're telling me that this is the same guy that sits there and talks to his father for long periods of time, and he wouldn't even go out of his way to go and say, "Hey, Dad, I'm thinking of becoming a monk, and I gotta go. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do because I'm a man, and this is my life." But he didn't even say that to his own father. Strong. Does that make sense, y'all? I've said T-shirts coming out very soon, but the math ain't mathing, y'all. The math ain't mathing with this one. Foul play is afoot. And then you got this new guy that's come out. Federal agent has come out. 5-0 hasn't even investigated this guy yet. Not even. But he's a possible person of interest, and 5-0 hasn't even interviewed this guy who has stepped forward and said things to his private investigator, but they haven't talked to 5-0. He hasn't been interviewed by 5-0 yet. Like I said, something is afoot. Something most definitely is afoot. I just hope that this does not turn out to be a Jelani Day kind of situation where there's no information. It's just a mystery and it turns into a cold case. I really hope it doesn't turn into that because no one deserves. No, this young man does not deserve it. This father, this devoted father, all right, does not deserve this either. Let's bring this kid home, and let's bring him home quickly. He's been gone for 4 months now, guys. Count it, 4 months. Let's find him. Go ahead, David. Real quick, and I'm going to wrap it up.
And I was going to say that, this is very similar to Jelani Day's car, in my opinion. From my anecdotal experience, and I've had this happen right near my house, it's not unusual for people who use the vehicle to commit a crime, such as a kidnapping or killing, which may be a case here, we don't know, and then just ditch the car in the desert, because it does tend to take a few months before people say anything about it, because it can just take a while for somebody to remove their car from the desert if it was a normal accident. And so a lot of times people who commit a crime will take the vehicle to the desert and just leave it there. The sun and the sand and the scavengers all help kind of mess it up. Like the vehicle that was found near my house was actually involved in a missing persons case, as a matter of fact. And it was stolen. I don't know the rest of the details. The police didn't tell me. They just removed the car. But this is a thing that happens. So the desert, in the same way that it's dangerous, is very good at clearing out evidence because of the sun and the animals and the sand. So it's all very suspicious to me, is basically what I'm saying. I don't think that there is I don't think that the story the man gave the father is probably accurate. I don't think it's accurate, basically. I don't think it played out the way that they're suggesting, just from everything that we're seeing. I think that the father is probably the only one, from what I can tell, that is actually looking into a more realistic cause of why that vehicle was there without the driver.
Overturned.
Yes.
By the way, overturned. And then, of course, if he walked off, let's just say, if he walked off from that area, you don't think that they went from where the car was flipped and they didn't walk in many directions just to see where he could have gone, like what path he could have taken, where he could have walked? I'm sure they were scouring, trying to find Daniel. And like I said, I really do hope that they do bring this kid home. Even if it is his body, at least we would have more information. At least they can find out what happened to this young man, and with the quickness. But anyway, guys, that is the show today. I want to say a big thank you to everybody for being on. The internet's being a little sticky, so I figured this is time to jump off. So let me do this real quick. Okay. It's a little bit better. But anyway, it's time to get going. David, thank you so much for being on. Thank you.
And it was an interesting show today, for sure.
Definitely a roller coaster ride of a show. Oh, and a big thank you to David Robinson for being on. Like I said, the website is in the chat. I will be posting it in the description box down below. So be on the lookout for that. If you can help, he does have a GoFundMe. He is funding this search himself. So by any means, if you can help any little bit, pennies helps bring them closer to finding out what happened to Daniel. Bring this kid home. You know, this was a kid doing some really great things and upstanding young black man that should be brought home. Okay. But anyway, guys, don't forget, please do this. Please don't forget to hit that like button down below. And if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. Destroy that subscribe button. That would be really appreciated, okay? It would be really appreciated. It would be really appreciated. But anyway, it's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
You're going to perform tonight. I can't make this interview boring because this man is too exciting as a host. And I'm truly saying this, and if y'all can't do this, me and this man here is going to leave and go somewhere else where we can get some love. I want everyone in the building to say, I love Pascal on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow.
Homeowners and property managers, if you're looking for effective and humane ways to remove wild animals and deal with the damage that they have caused, we have good news for you. Introducing Wildlife Command Center. We are the only wildlife company that checks 70 different areas on a structure to determine the answers to the following questions. For more information, call us now.
The Fur and Leather Center, providing the highest of fur and leather goods.